Hey fellow babies, thanks for joining us on Pachter Factor on SIFTD.net. If you are a Patreon patron or a YouTube subscriber, we very, very much appreciate your patronage. If you can remember, hit the pause button and link your Twitch Prime account to your Amazon Prime account. You have already paid for that. Amazon's got your money. It's being held aside to give to Shane. If you just remember to link those accounts. So link them, it costs you nothing. They already collected it from you and they'll give us some of it. So you're sticking it to Amazon, you're getting value out of your Prime membership. Please remember to do that. If you are doing any of those things, you're getting this real time. If you are not doing any of those things, you're watching this a week late because I insist that all of my 3 fans get this for free. So thanks for watching and let's get to today's question. Our question today comes from Sifted from Commander Fett. Hey Pac, hope you're doing well, I am. Why do you think PlayStation has increased the price of its controllers? Wouldn't the parts become cheaper over time, making controllers cheaper to manufacture? We've also seen price increases to the PS5 in some countries. Is this to offset losses from early manufacturing issues due to the weak yen or something else? Why do you think PlayStation isn't receiving criticism for increasing prices? Has it ever happened before? When the yen was 100, if you sold something for $1 in your Sony, you got 100 yen. Now if you sell it for $1, you get 136 yen. So they really love selling in the US and they're addicted to the profit stream from the US. It gives them more yen, but local sales, terrible. They're getting crushed. The answer to the controller question is we have a banking client who has very sophisticated controllers and they cost $13 to make. And they're more sophisticated than a PlayStation controller. So I would say 10, 80, it's pure profit. It's a joke. So why are they doing it? Because they can soak consumers and people will pay it. That's the only reason. Why did they raise the price of the PS5? Because they can. I mean, I gotta say, in fairness, I would expect that the PS5 costs them 400 and change to make. It's not a cheap device to make. But raising the price of the PS5 Pro to 700, you know, there's no way that thing costs them 700, no chance. So look, Sony is a profit company and they've just decided they're not subsidizing console sales anymore and they don't care. By the way, you as a consumer don't have a right to expect them to subsidize. I mean, look at Apple with Vision Pro or those guys are not giving it away. They're like, we're not subsidizing, figure it out. If you don't want one, don't spend $3 grand, that's great. So I think that's true of everybody. And the only way prices come down over time is if unit economics come down, which means component pricing goes down because demand is so great that the component providers are making more units. And I'm not sure that's true of PlayStation components. I mean, they're pretty specialized. You know, it's like if PlayStation's not ordering more of these AMD chips, I don't know who else they're selling them to. So, you know, really, it's one of those weird dynamics that you're always smarter to build a device that uses commodity components that everybody uses because the price does come down over time, and that's televisions. You know, TV screens are coming down in price. So Shane paid more for his LG OLED TV than I paid because I bought mine 3 years later. And it's because they sold another 20 million of them and the price of the screen came down. But Sony's not seeing that. So the answer to your question is that they're trying to soak you, and you've seen increases in some countries because they're trying to generate more yen, and that's really what it comes down to. So the answer is yes, it's offsetting early losses for manufacturing, and yes, it's to do what we can. And yes, it's something else that they're probably under pressure to make greater profits. All of Sony is not that profitable. Gaming used to be 25% of total profit, and it's declined. So they're trying to make more money and profit deal. And Sony, honestly, part of what's hurting them is they're just not selling enough consoles. Now I'm going to get the fanboys coming back saying, they're ahead of the PS4. Not anymore. They were. The line's crossing over. Unit sales are declining because price is too high. The PS5 Pro will pop sales by 1 million or 2, and they'll generate a lot more revenue at $700 price point. But they're going to go down again next year. And if you get a new Xbox next year, PlayStation's going to go down yet again. So Sony is just in an old business that nobody cares about anymore. And we're at the graphics, law of diminishing returns, that you don't need a new console unless the software you want to play is exclusive to that console. Yeah, they're trying to make more money. Why are they not receiving criticism for increasing prices? They got it from me. I said desperate move, brilliant, raising price. And of course, somebody's like, they didn't raise price, this is a new device. People are so fucking stupid. It's so hard for me to take. Like a console I'm sorry, but a console should cost $300. And I could even go with inflation. A console should cost $400. And I could even go with recent inflation, $500, not $700. And if you're charging $700, if you're charging $3,000 for a Apple, headset, you're stupid. Do you know anybody who has a Vision Pro that is buying? You know anybody buying one now? No, there's no content for it. You can't get people to make content for something that sells 100,000 units. And honestly, you can't soak the consumer for $700. It's just not worth it. So I think Sony is doing almost everything wrong. Other than they make great games. I'll give them credit that their games are good. I think Sony would be far better off figuring out what Microsoft's doing and putting everything on Game Pass or competing with Game Pass, and they're not. Sony derives the confidence to raise price without repercussion from the fact that its fan base is so loyal. So I think that they take for granted that once a PlayStation owner, you're never going to switch. And so they feel that they can raise price and it doesn't matter. You have nowhere else to go. And to some extent, that's true. I mean, you've invested in PlayStation, you have your PlayStation library, you're just not going to go buy an Xbox despite them. And it's, by the way, you could, but there's so many more games and they've established so much loyalty. I think that backfires over the long run. I think you cannot betray your consumer. You can't price your consumer out of the market. And I think that that's a mistake. And especially the early adopter paid $500, the late adopter pays $7. That's wrong. It should be the other way, right? So I agree, but the reason there's no backlash is that the hardcore Sony first mover, the guy who buys it day one, isn't really affected by this. Maybe if he wants to upgrade to a PS5 Pro. Let's see what happens with the PS6. If it comes out at $700 or $800, they're going to get an earful. And especially if the next Xbox is $500 or $400, then the PlayStation is going to get their ass kicked. They tried this back in 2006. Microsoft launched it, was it $399 or $499? $399. And PlayStation was $599. I think they were $200 apart. Yeah, it's $406, that's what it was. And Sony got their ass kicked. They just got their ass kicked. And never again. And I remember when we were heading into PS4 and Xbox One, everybody was waiting, on bated breath, like what's Xbox gonna do? And they overpriced it. And Sony came in lower and it saved them. So Sony understands they should have learned from the lesson of PS3 being overpriced by $200 and by PS4 being under the competition by 50. Microsoft's not coming out with a $700 console. There's a 0% chance of that. If I had to bet, I'd say they come down with a slimmed down PC for $400, maybe $500. If Sony tries to launch at $800, they're repeating the past, which is just really stupid. So the answer why have there not been repercussions is they haven't pissed off the early adopter yet. You guys are the most vocal, and you already got your PlayStation, so you don't care. You will care about the next one. So let's see. Let's see how and we have probably another, what's it, 24? We probably have another 3 years, maybe 4, before we have to worry about that. So it'll be 27 or 28. It's not going to be 26. Thanks for joining us on Pachter Factor on SIFTD.net. We are especially thankful to our Patreon patrons and our YouTube subscribers. You're keeping the lights on. Here they are. We also thank you if you've linked your Twitch Prime account to your Amazon Prime account. That gets us paid and it sticks it to Amazon. So please do that. Please look at the instructions in the show description below and link those accounts. It costs you nothing and Amazon will pay. You've already paid for it, so take advantage of something you've already paid for. If you have done none of those things and you're watching it free on YouTube, Thanks for watching. You're getting it a week late, but I insist that you guys get it. So thanks for paying attention and listening to what I have to say. We'll see you next time.